Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. You know, relationships can be tough and sometimes it feels like men and women are speaking completely different languages. We've all been there, right? Trying to get your point across, but it just feels like you're hitting a brick wall. Well, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. In this video, we're diving deep into the 9 most common communication mistakes that lead to arguments and misunderstandings with the men in your lives. And trust me, I've seen it all. We're going to break down each mistake and give you practical, actionable steps to communicate more effectively and build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. So, if you're ready to ditch the drama and start having productive, even enjoyable conversations with your man, buckle up. Let's get started. Alright, let's be honest, ladies. How many times have you been frustrated because your man just doesn't seem to get it? You know, those moments when you feel like you're speaking a different language. You drop hints, you sigh dramatically, you rearrange the entire living room hoping he'll pick up on your bad mood. Maybe you even start slamming doors or giving him the silent treatment. But here's the deal. Men aren't wired to decipher subtle cues. They're not mind readers. They often need things spelled out clearly. And frankly, it's not fair to expect them to be. It's like expecting someone to solve a puzzle without giving them all the pieces. You know that look you give him when you want him to take out the trash? Yeah, he doesn't. He might just think you're deep in thought or upset about something else. Instead of stewing in resentment, waiting for him to magically understand your needs, try this. Use your words. Be direct. Say what you mean. Tell him exactly what's on your mind. Be clear and specific about what you need or want. Believe me, it's a whole lot easier than the mental gymnastics you're used to. It saves both of you a lot of stress and confusion. When you're clear and upfront, you eliminate the guesswork and avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. It paves the way for a healthier, more transparent relationship. It might feel a little uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to being so direct. But that's okay, it's a learning process for both of you. But trust me, your relationship will thank you for it. You'll find that both of you are happier and more connected. Remember, communication is a two-way street. Both partners need to be open and honest for it to work effectively. Imagine this. You've had a long day, you're feeling stressed, and your partner walks in the door. What's the first thing you say to him? If it's something like, "You're late again," or, "You never think about how this makes me feel," you're setting yourself up for a fight before he even takes his coat off. Starting a conversation with criticism is like throwing gasoline on a smoldering fire. It's guaranteed to escalate the situation. Instead of launching into attack mode, try a different approach. Begin by expressing your own feelings without blaming him. For example, you could say, "I was really worried when you were late because I was starting to think something had happened." See the difference? By using I statements, you're taking ownership of your emotions and avoiding putting him on the defensive. Remember, the goal is to communicate, not to criticize. When you approach conversations with a more positive and understanding tone, you create a safe space for open and honest dialogue. This not only helps in resolving the immediate issue, but also strengthens your relationship in the long run. So next time, take a moment to breathe and choose your words wisely. It can make all the difference. Timing is everything, folks, especially when it comes to important conversations. Trying to have a heart-to-heart while he's glued to the TV watching the big game? Recipe for disaster. Think about it. Would you want to discuss your relationship issues while someone's yelling at the TV or your phone's blowing up with notifications? Probably not. Pick a time when you can both be fully present and engaged in the conversation. That means no distractions, no phones, no other people. Maybe it's after dinner, maybe it's during a walk in the park. Find what works for both of you. And here's a little secret. Sometimes, a little bit of space can work wonders. If emotions are running high, it's okay to take a step back and agree to revisit the conversation later when you've both had a chance to cool down. Remember, communication should be a tool for connection, not contention. Choose your moments wisely. Chapter 4. Overloading with too much information. We've all been there. You've got a laundry list of things you want to discuss, and you unleash it all at once. Problem is, when you bombard your partner with a tidal wave of information, it's overwhelming. He's not going to process any of it. Think of it like this. You wouldn't try to stuff an entire week's worth of groceries into a tiny shopping bag, would you? You'd break it down, make multiple trips. Communication is the same way. Focus on one issue at a time. Address it fully, give him a chance to respond, and then move on to the next thing. This approach allows for clearer understanding and prevents him from feeling ambushed or overwhelmed. Remember, less is often more. By breaking down your thoughts into manageable chunks, you'll have a much better chance of getting your message across effectively. Chapter 5. Interrupting or not listening. You know that saying, you have two ears and one mouth for a reason? It's a reminder that listening is crucial. Well, it applies to relationships too. In fact, it might be even more important in personal connections. Listening is just as important as speaking, if not more so. It's the foundation of understanding and empathy. And I'm not talking about just waiting for your turn to talk. True listening goes beyond that. I'm talking about active listening, really hearing and understanding what your partner is saying, even if you don't agree with it. This means being fully present in the moment. Put your phone down, make eye contact, and resist the urge to interrupt. These small actions can make a big difference. Let him finish his thoughts before you jump in with your own perspective. It's about giving space for expression. It shows respect and demonstrates that you genuinely care about what he has to say. This can strengthen your bond. And when he's finished, try paraphrasing what you heard to make sure you understand. This can prevent misunderstandings. Something like, "So what you're saying is," can be very effective. It can make a world of difference. Clear communication can lead to a happier relationship. Remember, communication is a two-way street. Both parties need to feel heard and understood. Listen with the intent to understand, not just to respond. This approach fosters deeper connections and mutual respect. Chapter 6. Using the silent treatment. The silent treatment. It's the weapon of choice for many, but it's about as effective as a water pistol in a forest fire. All it does is create distance and resentment. Look, I get it. Sometimes you need a little space to cool down and process your emotions. But shutting down completely and refusing to communicate is not the answer. Instead of retreating into icy silence, try this. Tell him you need a break. Say something like, "I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, and I need a little time to myself before we talk about this." This way, he knows you're not trying to punish him, but you need a moment to gather your thoughts. It's about being honest and respectful, even when you're upset. Remember, communication is about building bridges, not walls. Don't let silence become an obstacle in your relationship. Chapter 7. Bringing up past issues. Let's be honest, folks, dredging up old arguments is like pouring salt in an open wound. It's not productive, and it only serves to make things worse. If you're arguing about dirty dishes, stay focused on the dirty dishes. Don't bring up that time 5 years ago when he forgot your anniversary. It's not relevant, and it's only going to derail the conversation. Focus on the present issue at hand and address it constructively. If you find yourself constantly bringing up past grievances, it might be a sign of a deeper issue that needs to be addressed. Remember, relationships are a work in progress. Don't let the baggage of the past weigh down your present happiness. Chapter 8. Expecting him to communicate like you do. Here's a newsflash. Men and women communicate differently. It's not rocket science, folks. But for some reason, we often fall into the trap of expecting our partners to communicate exactly like we do. Just because he doesn't express his feelings with the same frequency or intensity as you, doesn't mean he doesn't care. He just might have a different way of processing and expressing his emotions. Instead of trying to change him, try to understand him. Pay attention to his communication style. Does he prefer to talk things out immediately, or does he need some time to process? Does he express affection verbally or through acts of service? The key is to adapt and respect each other's differences. Remember, a little understanding goes a long way in bridging the communication gap. Chapter 9. Trying to win the argument. Here's a hard truth. In a relationship, there are no winners or losers in an argument. When you approach disagreements like a battle that needs to be won, you've already lost sight of what's truly important, the relationship itself. The goal of communication should never be to prove the other person wrong or to come out on top. It's about understanding each other's perspectives, finding common ground, and working towards a resolution that works for both of you. So, next time you find yourself in a disagreement, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's more important, being right or being happy? Choose the latter. Remember, a healthy relationship is a partnership, not a competition. Focus on building each other up, not tearing each other down. So there you have it, folks. 9 common communication mistakes to avoid if you want to have a happier, healthier relationship with the man in your life. Remember, communication is a skill, and like any skill, It takes practice. Don't get discouraged if you don't get it perfect right away. Keep these tips in mind, be patient with yourself and each other, and I promise you'll see a difference. Now go out there and start communicating. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more relationship advice. Until next time, take care.